Now, the following is one of the sections in this first scripted and public version of this program that cuts a bit deeper into my background as a saint, a former member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the LDS Church. And just to warn you, I've done my best to prepare you because things are about to get a little rough again, but they should have seen this coming. And I am exposing myself and telling on myself here at the same time. And I'm not hiding that fact, as you can see. It looks like the time for secrets is coming to an abrupt end. So let me start with saying that I think they're just as beautiful as anyone else. I have to lubricate this one up with love right up front and on the back end. Remember to do some deep belly breathing through this, and for those who know how, to run the Instant Health Data Transfer, or Instant Health Data, IDT, Power Plants program, which is a special miracle prayer, and take breaks as needed. Here we go again. It has been well documented and proven that natural healers and natural doctors have been targeted by the IRS and state governments, and the elite abusers are also guilty of targeting them. How do they treat LDS members who are natural healer type doctors? When the state and IRS come after them in a combined tag team witch hunt effort, well, what happened to my father? The government assigned him an attorney that would sell him down the river and process him like cattle. The LDS Church took his temple recommend away and disfellowshipped him. That same church leader, a stake president, was removed from office within a couple weeks. And I think it was divine intervention that God may have removed him, like Mother Nature's poetic justice. That former leader's decisions against my father still stuck for many years, at least until after my father finally won his court case with the state. And we should have seen all of this coming too, because while Ezra Taft Benson was an apostle and then the president of the church, my father had nothing to worry about. This is the same Ezra Taft Benson who was Secretary of Agriculture of the United States government, who we quoted promoting None Dare Call It Conspiracy, NDCC. How you enforce your laws determines behavior. And let's take a closer look at what's really happened to the LDS Church. You can't drink alcohol or smoke. You can't even drink black tea or coffee, but you can have all the Prozac you want. In fact, if you're on Prozac, you're part of our special club. We'll take extra special care of you. Why? Because most of the leadership is a bunch of medical doctors and attorneys, which are of the same families and the same type of people. That's what it's turned into after Ezra Taft Benson died, who was a big promoter of my father and would sit on the front row of my father's classes every chance he got. Remember, he was Secretary of Agriculture of the United States government. He understood politics better than any LDS leader since Joseph Smith. He understood law and understood very much what my father was talking about and its importance. It was through Ezra Taft Benson's efforts that some very influential natural health doctors came to Utah, like my father and Dr. Christopher, the herbalist. Ezra Taft Benson had a vision of Utah becoming a natural health capital. And still today, more herbs come out of Utah than any other part of the country. Consumable nutritional supplements and other natural health products. That's another reason it became the network marketing capital of the world. A lot of them like to sell consumable nutritional products. The medical doctors and attorneys became very angry with all the changes Ezra Taft Benson was making against their wishes. It wasn't what they envisioned. But Ezra Taft Benson had become the president of the LDS Church, its prophet. We should have seen the opposition coming with the loss of President Benson. Nature seeks balance. And the medical and legal professions have really taken things to extremes and way out of balance. Things in the church weren't the best before Ezra Taft Benson moved into leadership. And since he died, when there's an opening, whether it's the position as bishop or more so with a stake president and general authority position and up the ranks, when there are openings, natural healer types don't usually fill those spots. Typically, if there are openings, they are filled by medical doctors and attorneys, same families, their favorite type of leader. So they've gone overboard, the opposite way, the other side of the spectrum, to try to balance things out and establish their vision and dream. And some of them still hate Ezra Taft Benson, unfortunately, and talk about him as if there was something he needed forgiveness for, with all the good he did, as if there was anything to forgive. He was a great leader of the people, but that just shows you nature seeks balance. And sometimes, especially with the powers that be, they'll take it as far to the opposite end of the spectrum as possible after all the best efforts of the best people to do things right. We should expect that when it comes to that type of group. Well, some just want to rule the world. You got a situation where the whole medical organization is run by people who don't even know they're part of the biggest plan to dominate and take over the whole world. This is nothing personal towards medical doctors either, because they don't know. They have plenty of their own walls of terror from the real elite abusers in their organization, and it's not their fault. Those who have taken courage to speak up loud enough have usually had big examples made out of them by the elite abusers. So it's not the medical doctor's fault. Same with attorneys. But not knowing doesn't help them either. Most don't know they're part of the problem. Most of them are clueless, and it's not really their fault. They got into it thinking they were going to help somebody, relieve some suffering, and save some lives, and ended up becoming basically licensed drug dealers for the drug companies and slave masters for the elite abusers. As an LDS member, you can't drink alcohol or smoke tobacco. You can't even drink tea or coffee. But oh my gosh, you can have all the Prozac you want. No wonder why Utah is the Prozac capital of the world. Utah Valley in Utah County has been called Happy Valley. Utah Valley. By the 1990s, it became known as Prozac Valley, as the Prozac capital of the world. When meth actually first went big, when it got really popular, it took off in Utah more than anywhere else. Meth users were termed tweakers. Everybody within that circle knew what the word tweaker was. Lots of people in Utah were familiar with the word tweaker and knew what a tweaker was. When people from other states would hear the term tweaker, even the kids who were familiar with drugs, who were drug users, wouldn't know what the Utahns were talking about. The reason why so many people are addicted to painkillers and other chemicals there is because you can't have any alcohol or tobacco, not even black tea or coffee. But you can have all the over-the-counter drugs and prescription drugs, and you can have all the Prozac you want, which is like way more powerful to the mind than cocaine. And many of their good members have become drug addicts. First, they get addicted to the painkillers, over-the-counter and prescription drugs, and then more.